Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Life with Loverly podcast. Today, we are talking all things home decor with one of my favorite people to follow, Regan Mauck. You may know her as the Blooming Nest on Instagram, where she posts affordable home and fashion finds. I love her feminine yet inviting style, and let me tell you, girl knows how to elevate a room on a budget. Today, she and I are chatting about how she discovered her talent for DIY as a newlywed, her home renovation projects, and so many tips on how to style different places in your home, like kitchen shelves, the bathroom, and your dining room. She is such a delight to chat with, so I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Here is your go-to guide on home decorating with Regan Mauck. Hi, friends. Welcome back to today's episode of the Life with Loverly podcast. I am so excited to be interviewing Regan from the Blooming Nest. Hi, Regan. How are you?
I'm so good. This feels surreal. I'm so happy to be here.
I can't believe that you're here, to be honest.
Me neither. I was driving through Atlanta yesterday, truly what am I doing? It was one of those things where I was like, I'm just going to go and not think about it.
I know.
Because doing this virtually would just
It wouldn't have been the same. I mean, it's possible. But so I feel like the first time we met was at LTK conference.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And that was so fun. I loved meeting all of the home decor gals that you were with. And
it was so fun.
I feel like I've been following along with you. You have so many amazing home finds. You have so many cool things. One thing I really love about you though is your sense of humor and just you truly seem like you're having so much fun on Instagram every day.
I think I'm just mostly a mess.
I don't know. I mean, your style is so awesome. And so we're going to dive into that. But I was asked Regan earlier this year if she would be on the podcast. And then I was watching one of your lives and I was like, wait, you should just come. And
I know.
I felt like I sort of hijacked the comments of that live because I was like, wait, I'm talking to you. She was responding back to me. And then it kind of was just wait, come in person. Why not?
Yeah, it just planted the seed and I'm like, why? Yeah, why wouldn't I do that?
I know.
Plus, it's been amazing because I'm just getting hotel room to myself.
I know.
I'm having a little vacay.
Seriously. Okay. How was the Target that you went to yesterday?
It was so cute.
I've actually never been to that Target.
I'm surprised. It was tiny. It seemed like where all the college kids are going. I feel like I'm staying on campus. I don't even know where anything is.
You are.
It was really cool to walk. I saw college kids walking around with me, but it's they only had what you would need for your dorm.
Yeah.
I was looking for a weighted blanket. I was going to make my stay so
really
cozy. Yeah. I'm I'm going to live it up if I don't have my kids with me, but
it was the essentials.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I'll see on my Target pickup, it's do you want to do downtown or the other Athens one? And I'm like, oh, interesting that they carry that item, at the downtown location.
It still felt like Target. It was just
I feel like it's probably more of a Target in a New York or a city where they're just different.
Well, when I was driving to it, it kept saying Target and 0.2 miles. I'm like, there's no way. This is
You're where?
I'm like, this is going to be some other store that's called Target. And sure enough, tiny one.
It was the real Target. That's so funny. Well, I want to just kind of hear a little bit of your backstory. And obviously we're going to talk a lot about home decor. So just kind of hopping in, have you always enjoyed home decor or did you how did you kind of get into home decor and liking it and knowing what to do?
It's probably not what you think. I never thought I would be here or doing this at all. I never really envisioned that for myself. But when you ask if I've always loved it, yes, when I think back, I was the girl that was rearranging my room all the time.
Yep.
And it was probably my 14th or 15th birthday. I asked for a room makeover. That's what I wanted. I didn't want anything else. And at the time it was gray walls and not cute,
right.
But it was what was trendy.
Yeah.
So yeah, now looking back, I'm I have always loved this and I've always thrived in a well put together space. And I know you were talking about that the other day that you've just been craving calm. And I just have to have a put together tidy space for me to feel comfortable and relaxed.
Yeah.
So I think that I've always had that in my life. But yeah, I'm not qualified to do this. I'm not an interior designer. But I think that you could go to school for years and still not even like have the talent or like the knack for being able to decorate. And I think it's just something that like I love so much
Yeah.
and just like came to me. So
I love that. Well, and I think that's what makes you so relatable is that's not your, like degree, but you love going on a home goods trip. You love going to Target and grabbing the things that are accessible to everybody who has those stores. And you really show them like, here's how you can make this work for yourself. So I think that's something that, because sometimes people who are like professional interior designers, it can like they can be intimidating. That it can be like, oh, well, if I ask you a question, like, am I have to pay for that? I mean, there's just, you just don't know.
It's sometimes hard for them to teach what they've learned.
Yeah.
And instead, that's why I love my job, because I just get to share what I love and like take it or leave it. If you want to do your house differently, I don't have to like try and like work with what you have or what you love. I just get to share what I want to do.
Yeah. And if that inspires you, great. I mean, I think that's like a great point for anybody. It's just, followers or people consuming your content have come to your page to do that. But like, they don't have to like it, but it's like, it's okay, like this is still for you to just have an outlet and share. And I mean,
it's like the best of both worlds, because I obviously get asked all the time, like if I can help people with their spaces or whatever. And like, I hate that pressure. Like, I don't want to work with your current furniture.
Well, and then there's like opinions. I do the
opinions
on people ask about like personal shopping, and I'm just like, I mean,
you know how to dress yourself.
Yeah, I can give you these ideas, but I don't always like tailor to what other people want. So I want you to take from me what you like and incorporate it yourself. But you do a great job of like teaching people how to like style their homes.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so how did you turn this into your career then?
I still daily am like have to remind myself that this is a job, and sometimes that's like a battle for me because I started it as a hobby and I still like sometimes treat it that way because it just brings me joy. I think that's a good thing because I don't lose like the passion behind it. But then like when I want to take next steps in my business, I'm like, I have to do the hard work too. Like I can't just do the fun stuff. But getting back to like how I started, me and Brett got married really young and he immediately started his master's. So I've shared this on my Instagram before, but in college, I started an Etsy shop and I sewed dresses in my dorm room. Like,
oh my gosh,
I would
really?
like just sew and sew and sew. And it was actually really successful, but like, was I losing my mind? Like I didn't like school. So I would just like do my classes and then go and sew in my room. I had like a little rack of all my clothes.
Gosh.
But anyway, so after we got married, I was like super burnt out on that. And I was just looking for like another creative outlet because you would literally have to put me in like a box. I would still probably create in a box.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
Like,
Yeah, I'm like, how can I make this pretty? But I like cannot help it. So it was like just a matter of time before I found something else. But we were living in our first townhome and we had no money. Like I'm not kidding. Like I couldn't spend a penny.
Yeah. It was like.
Yeah, it was like we got married so young. He had just started his job like a month before we got married. Like I don't even know how we got in this townhouse. We probably had my parents' help. Like I don't remember. But so anyway, I was going to figure out how to create. And I remember the first little project that I shared on my blog was I went to Goodwill and I bought this like huge piece of art. It was like ugly art. And I made it into this huge chalkboard. That was cool back then, I guess. Yeah. This was a long time ago.
I remember those like frame chalkboards.
Yeah. So I like made a wooden frame for it. I like talked about how to do it. And just from that point on, like that first year, it was like the simplest DIYs, but people related to that. And it probably took 3 or 4 years of just like doing it on the side because I had my first son and that was my focus. But then slowly, like I think Instagram picked up, it started changing a lot. And then I was still there because I'm like, I love this and I'm always going to be creating. So the fact that I have people to like witness that is like such a blessing to me.
And I think I remember our first home and like getting things off of Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and like going and picking them up and then being like, how can I make this better? Or even just like new knobs or something. But
anything little to like
I was always the person who would like start the project and be like, am I really gonna, like, how can I finish this? How do I
Yeah.
like, but I just wanted some like creative thing.
Right.
So I think so many people can relate to that.
Mhm.
And you have to start kind to like
Right.
even kind of figure it out.
Right.
So you guys, how long have you been in your house that you're in now?
About 2 years exactly.
Okay.
So we moved about 2 years ago, and that was kind of like out of the blue. We only lived in the house before that for exactly 2 years,
Yep.
and we had like the most beautiful lake view you've ever seen. Like it looked like you were standing on the lake when you looked out our
Wow.
windows. So people are still confused, like why, that's your dream home. Like, but we just like followed God's lead, and this move has been the biggest blessing for us,
Yeah.
like in every category of our life. So yeah, we've really, really loved it.
It's been really cool too to see just like what you're able to do with your house, because it was already built. It
Mhm.
was y'all moved into it knowing you wanted to make some changes. How did that process go? And kind of how does that conversation go with you and Brett where you're like, okay, love this house, but like there's a lot I want to do. How
Yeah.
does he feel about all of that?
So before this current house, we had only done like new build, which
Mhm.
people loved because we would take like the bare house and we would just touch every inch of it. Um, and it was easy because we moved in and I had that sense of calm because the rooms were at least like finished. Like
Yeah.
there was nice new flooring. No one had ever lived on it
Right.
before. So I didn't have like the stress part in those past two houses. And this was a whole different animal. And I'm still living in it.
Yeah.
We still have a lot of unfinished. But I remember, so like this move happened quickly. Like financially, we weren't ready for it, like all the things, but we were like, here we go. Like we've
Yeah.
prayed. This is the right answer. And it was like, Brett, I have to have the kitchen done. I have to have new floors and new paint, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah. I
And
can
so
feel
I
a little
was
calm.
Yeah. And I was calm after those things, but the kitchen drug out for like a year and a half because it's like you fix one thing and then you're like, it's not quite right. And
I
it just kept
know.
like, I'd never done this before.
Yeah.
And this is like what my Instagram is. It's like follow along because I'm
Right.
just figuring it out. Like,
How did you
one
know
thing at a
what to
time.
start first? Like because y'all were living there as you're doing all of these like
So
changes.
we didn't move in until the floors were done, but then
Okay. Yeah.
pretty much we were like in it because we had to get up there and get settled. And oh my goodness,
It's just a
I wouldn't
lot.
tell anyone to do this.
I know. Okay, so what would you say your overall design style is?
I get asked that a
Yeah.
lot. People will be like, I'm building. Can you please tell me what to search on Pinterest? Like, what is your
Yeah.
style? I don't know what to say other than like blooming nest. And I
Yeah.
always tell people like, it's just me. But I think if I had to put me in a box, like I like classic and things that aren't going to like, I'm not going to hate them in 5 years.
Yep.
And I love like a touch of feminine. Like I love
Mhm.
scallops and florals. And that makes me happy. And I'm
Yeah.
thankful that Brett is okay with it.
I love that. And I totally agree. I think having a partner who's like on board with, you know, letting you have some of those feminine touches, it makes for a really nice home,
Yes, I agree.
I do think you do have like such a great classic taste, but then you have some really beautiful pops of color in there. Like I just even thinking about like your kitchen and some of the pinks that you do and some of the teal, like I don't know. I feel like people could really get inspired for a lot of different rooms.
Yeah, I go through phases where I like crave a little more color.
Uh-huh.
And then like right now I'm in a neutral phase. I was like taking colorful things off my kitchen shelves. Like, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, I need the calm, but I
Yeah.
like for like the majority of things to be where I can like add those pops of colors when I want. And for me, pigeon is like it's my favorite color and it's like a neutral for me. So some people will feel like that's my pop of color, but it
Yeah.
feels very calm for me.
Right.
And so it gives me that like hint of like not just being all white,
Yeah.
but I have that little pop.
I love it. I think it's so great. Okay, what would be some ways that we could elevate our house on a budget? I know that's kind of where you started and you like to find budget friendly like items. Give our listeners like a few tips on how to do that.
So like we talked about before, like paint. You can
Yeah.
paint anything.
Yeah.
Like paint a piece of furniture, you're going to feel better.
Mhm.
Like it will, even if it isn't like modernizing it. It's just going to feel fresh to you. And that's affordable. You can go get like a $5 sample. And I will just like, people are scared. I'm like, just go for it.
Just try.
Once you touch it to the furniture, you have to do it. So just like
do
go for it. And then my favorite affordable thing that I've done forever and I still do in almost every room is I go on Etsy and I get their art prints. They're like $5. You can find like the best art. And then I love finding unique frames, whether that's like vintage or just like a cute frame from Target. It will make your whole space look like you like really thought it out.
Yeah.
And it was really cheap.
It's crazy. I think people just like assume having nice art or things that look nice that it's going to cost a lot.
Yeah.
But some of the things, like there's this gallery wall in our new house and we got all of the prints from on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then they were printed on like a really cool textured paper. And then they put like a great frame around them. So it looks really vintage and like it was the set that kind of like got put together. But
it was
like,
affordable.
Yeah.
It's like crazy that you can do that.
I know.
Because used to, like if you wanted nice art, it was going to be like $500 a piece. Like no one could do that.
Right.
But now you get the exact like replication. I have this art on my kitchen shelf and I saw it on Magnolia's website the other day for $500.
Gosh.
It was framed. It was beautiful, but I'm like, I put mine in a good frame. It was only $5.
You're like,
So like the art that you're buying exists other places.
Totally.
I'm like, don't go buy it from.
Yeah, it's like it is possible to get like a look for less.
Right.
And then that allows you to kind of, maybe invest in something else that like, also like why do you think bar stools are so expensive?
Oh my goodness. What isn't though? I'm like struggling with all furniture purchases right now because I talked myself out of it. I'm like, by the time you buy multiple, it's crazy.
It's that like outdoor furniture. I mean, and then it's like, okay, as soon as you like get your budget set, you're really only, you're not even like getting your style in that.
I know.
I wish that we had an answer for that, but
maybe one day.
I don't know the answer. I'm just
maybe
aware.
Prices will just start coming down.
I know. Gosh, wouldn't that be nice? Do you have any like places you would suggest people like look for some of these things? Obviously Target, but like where do you find like some hidden gem stores, or do you ever like thrift shop or like go to vintage stores? Any tips there?
So I love home goods. It's like,
oh my gosh,
my hobby because it's like a treasure hunt.
Like I know.
You can find the designer pieces there, but you have to go really often.
Yeah,
because they get snatched up. But I'm there like twice a week because you never know what you're going to find.
Yours is really good too.
I do have a good one, but I think it's more about like the frequency, because like 80% of the time I go, I find nothing.
Right.
But it's those few times that you go and you're like, wow, they just got like a new shipment.
Yeah.
And then in my new town, there's a lot more antique stores. So I wasn't really able to do that at my old house. And now I'm loving that. I'm loving finding the little treasures. It might be like one piece. I shop for like 2 hours and find that one thing, but that's been really fun. So I do love
I think it's really cool to like study your space and see kind of like what are you wanting? Like, okay, maybe you have a bookshelf that you're wanting to style. Like what are you craving color? Are you craving texture? Are you craving like pattern or something? And like going shopping with that item, like that kind of need in mind, but also being open to like finding other treasures. I mean, antiquing and like some really cool vintage shops.
It's so fun. Do y'all have any of those around here?
Yeah, we have a few. There's actually one that was kind of close to my old house that I haven't gotten a chance to go in, but I can see in the window as I drive past, and they look like they have some really great frames.
Yeah, that's so hard to find. It's one of those things I think people have started looking for. Like,
I know.
For a while it was books, and like all the books were gone. Like you couldn't find books at antique stores. I'm like, this is crazy. But I can't find frames now.
I know.
I have like 2 that I love, and I want them in every room because they're like the perfect vintage frame, but I can't find anymore.
I know. That's it's been interesting because in that same gallery wall I was talking about, one of the girls was at the house yesterday and she was like, but what is this frame? This is so good. Like we need to find out like how can we get more of these frames? And I don't know. It's just such like once you find some good ones.
But then
like,
it's so exciting.
On.
It's like, it's more special than when you just buy one at Target, even if they like try and make one look vintage. Like
I
it's
know.
not the
It's
same.
just not the same. It doesn't tell the same story.
It doesn't.
Okay, tell me about the vanity in your bathroom that you found on Facebook Marketplace and how you updated it.
This is one of my favorite projects that we've done in our house. And I was thinking about it. Like my toilet's like right there. And when I pee, I find myself like looking at it constantly. Like, wow. I just like glance over.
I love it.
I'm like, what in the world? How does that look like wood? So I found it on Marketplace, which is like another hobby of mine, just like browsing. And I will say, like, our new area, I find a lot more than, so it does depend on location. I'm more like in the country, and maybe there's like older people that are getting rid of stuff. Like, I don't know, but it's a Pottery Barn vanity, and I loved it as is. But when I got it home, it was like kind of too dark and cherry looking. And I'm like, great. Like, I really wanted the warmth of wood. I didn't want to paint it, and I was trying to figure it out. So I had seen some videos of people using like antiquing wax to make things look like wood. Ordered it. It was there the next day. And you know me, I'm like slapping stuff on it like immediately. Like, I could ruin this, but it's weird. It's a weird technique because you paint the whole piece white first. So I like painted the whole thing with white chalk paint, and I'm like, what am I doing? I hate it.
You're like, trust the process.
Yeah, I really was, which is what I do. I'm just like, I'm going to figure this out and make it look good. So it was white and ugly. Like, I did not want a white vanity. And then you get the wax and you just brush it on. And my reaction as I'm doing it is like, how is this looking like wood? And it literally, to this day, I look at it and think, how does that look like wood? Because it's just like wax on top of paint.
So did it make it lighter? Or
it still has that warm depth that I wanted, but it's the right tones for my house now. It's not like that solid cherry look. And it has like wood grain. I don't know. Yeah. It's like magic. So I need to do it again.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you do that with like another piece in your house?
So funny story. I did try it on a coffee table, and it was not the same. Okay. So I think, or it did the same thing, but I think when you have like a big, large surface, you're going to see more of the streaks. And on my vanity, there's just like small drawers, and so each drawer looks like it has like its own wood grain. So it worked a lot better being broken up. So if you do try it, maybe not like a coffee table or a dining table, because I ended up selling that. Someone's like, happy with it, but I just like, you know, when you do things yourself, you like stare at them and then decide. And
then you're like, I actually don't like that.
Yeah.
But somebody else is like, you know, I mean, it's like some man's trash is another man's treasure. Okay, where do you store the things that you're finding, or like seasonal things? I feel like I recently saw this super cool closet, and I need to know more about that.
It's like my dream. I think it's like, I've needed this for so long. Like, I have extra decor, and it has been just piled in our unfinished laundry room. So as we started designing the laundry room, I'm like, what do I need in this space? Oh, I need like shelving and a door that I can close so I don't have to stare at this all the time, even though it's like nice and organized right now. But like, I don't want people to just see my storage stuff. So anyway, I always have decor on hand, because as the seasons change, I'm changing stems out, and I have like crazy amount of pillows and vases. Like, people would probably walk in there and be like,
you have a problem.
Yeah. But I do. I'll admit it. I love home decor.
I mean, yeah. Well, I think that's really smart. I know so many like other home decor bloggers and influencers, they have like actual storage units that they like store stuff.
They do.
Know? I mean,
like furniture pieces. I'm not there yet.
I mean, Reagan, one day, I don't know.
Maybe one day. I don't know. I'm like, I want to use it. It kind of kills me that some of my favorite things are sitting in that closet. I'm like, I want to have
like bring that back out.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's such a cool thing for you to like go in and get inspiration off of those items you already have.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely.
And then you can bring that out and bring it back into play and change it up.
Yep. And I do need to change it up. Like, I can't share the same things every day. So it has a purpose, but it does bug me a little bit.
Would you say that you do a lot of like home decor collaborations, or how, you know, how does that work as far as like on the business side of things?
So I do think that that's like something that's growing. I think it's a little slower than fashion. When we met at LTK Con 2 years ago, it's like we were like, where are the home
Yeah.
like people, even the home brands that were there, they were there for fashion, like Anthropologie. Like, I'm like, please, can we work together? And they had racks of clothes, which I would love too. Like, I do share some of that, but I think for some reason the home is like lagging. So to answer your question, like, yes, I do collabs with home people, but there's just not that many.
Well, and I think it works so differently sometimes, like, because usually those items are like cost more. Like the investment for the brand is different than just like, hey, share this dress.
Right. They can't just easily send a box of like 5 dresses. It's like, we want you to share our sofa, but can we just give you the sofa? And I'm like, that if I'm looking for one, cool. But if I don't need a couch, then no, you have to pay me. And
Like
give me
we
the
need
sofa.
to, it has to make it like make sense.
Sometimes it does make sense, but like, as I'm renovating, like sometimes gifted campaigns do still make sense because I'm like, I'm about to spend $1,500 on this like wallpaper for this entire room, whatever. And I'm like, if that's all that brand can do, I was going to buy it anyway. So it does still work, but.
And then like all the times that you're in that room and it's like at brand of wallpaper, then it does become, it's authentic to you. It's great for the brand, So I think there's definitely ways you make it work, obviously, but I just have always thought it was like so interesting because that's just different from like the fashion side of things.
Yeah. So I work with Walmart a lot, which I really enjoy because it's like kind of like that treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Where I'm like going in to find like the blooming nest things, the only things that like I would put in my home because there's a lot that I wouldn't.
Right.
So that's really fun because I get to like style those really affordable pieces in my home, and my followers love that. Like they are bargain shoppers. They want Walmart. And so for me, it's really fun because I'm like making my house the canvas to like show them how these pieces can be styled.
Yeah.
So I will say like Walmart's been great for like the home stuff, but I'm like, come on.
Totally.
Other people need to
you're like,
step it up.
Let's go. I know Walmart definitely. And I think that's what people like about following influencers who share Walmart, that it's like you can tell they're really using those items in their home. Or, I mean, the Drew Barrymore Beautiful line.
I know.
It is literally beautiful.
I own, I think, all of her appliances. Yeah. Like literally every single one.
That's what all of our like appliances in the kitchen here at the office is all.
It's so cute.
It's all really pretty.
Yeah, I love it.
I just ordered a can opener, which I didn't need, but I was just like, this is so pretty. If we ever need electric can opener, the color was so pretty. It was like a pewter. So I don't know if you've seen that color, but it's like a putty pewter. I know now I'm like, I think I need the toaster. Don't need any more appliances, but that line always gets me.
I know. They're doing really great.
Yeah.
I'm loving their new stuff.
Okay. Thoughts on exterior paint? I know that's such like a trend or things people paint the outside of their house to like freshen it up. You guys have recently done that. What are your thoughts? How did you pick a color? Tell us everything.
So I had been wanting to do this for like 3 houses now because we keep moving, and it never happened. Like we would move before we could renovate the exterior. So I've never had the outside of my house feel like me. Yeah. So this has been like so fun. I still, when I drive up, am so happy.
Love that.
So we worked with a company called Roma Bio, and they make products that are actually for brick and stone. It's not like you're painting your brick and it's going to chip off or you're going to have to redo it. Like it is going to last, and it is healthy for the brick and stone. So I worked with them, and they kind of helped guide me with paint colors too, because
like, how do you pick?
And I do not like swatching paint.
I know.
It's like my least favorite thing because you put like a little sample and all the colors around it like mess you up and you can't tell what color it is.
I know.
So I kind of just went with like one of their like classics. It's Swiss Coffee by Benmore, which
so good.
A lot of people use that. And so like when you swatch one that's really popular, like, you know that it's probably going to be okay.
That's true. That's a good place to start.
Yeah, like start on Pinterest and see what other people have done and see what you like. And then for our stone, we used Aroma Bio color. So they do have like 3 or 4 of their actual own colors.
Okay.
And then, I had to do pigeon shutters. That's what I'm so excited about. Like, it feels like me.
Okay. Are those done? Have you shared any pictures of those yet?
Yeah, I have. But I've been sharing more because when we first finished the house, it was like winter and it didn't look good outside.
Yeah.
So I revealed it, but I wasn't super
You're like,
excited.
yay.
Yeah, I'm like, everything's dead, but I tried to make it look good. So we just got like fresh mulch and we're still, I mean, it is slow.
Everything is a process.
Yeah. So we have a little fountain in our circle. And when we moved in, it had like seahorses in it. Like we had a lot of things about our house that were like,
you're like, what?
So we ripped those out really early on and it's just been empty. It looks like a creepy old well, like in our front circle. So we finally like see how slow things are, but we finally ordered this really nice fountain and that's going to be so amazing and look so much better.
Yeah.
So I just can't wait.
I mean, having that running water feature is literally life-giving.
I know. It's
we
like
have one
relaxing.
At our house and I'm like,
so amazing.
It actually started leaking yesterday.
Oh no. Now it's going to become a problem.
And now I'm like, I cannot go without like the water. So I'm like, we have got to like figure out where this leak is going.
Hopefully it's not like something that becomes an issue.
I know.
Where you're constantly fixing it.
It's been turned off for like a few years while we've been doing this renovation. So I'm like wondering if we're just working out some kinks there.
Maybe so.
TBD. It's funny when we painted the outside of our house and I feel like we went with such a color that's like not an exterior paint color. We did Chantilly lace.
Okay.
It's very bright. It's
is
bright
it?
white.
I've never seen it on an outside of
house. It is like poppin'. But we have like a lot of contrast with black windows and like black door. And so it looks really sharp, but same thing. I was like, I have no idea even where to start.
It's so hard because even if you sample one and decide that you love it, it's not going to look the same when you So I really don't even have advice on that. It's like you just gotta
try.
Pick it and pray that it works.
Pick and pray, baby.
Like you just really never know. Because like same with the inside of your house. Like you paint a swatch and then you paint the whole room and it is completely different. Well, you won't know until you see the full thing.
I agree. One of my favorite paint colors is agreeable gray. And in like different shadows, different lighting, it can be like a bluish gray and like a taupey gray. And I think that's like, if you have a big room, that does like kind of make it beautiful in, taking on different tones throughout, but that can really confuse people.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think even just like swatching it and letting it stay there and seeing how it changes in like the rainy days.
Yes, that is so true.
Like really working through it.
My exterior definitely looks different when it's cloudy and sunny. And luckily I like both, but like it's a risk.
But you don't know.
You really don't know.
I know.
It's scary.
Godspeed.
We're gonna
really
we're gonna convince everyone not to paint anything because it's like you don't know. Sorry.
That's so funny. Okay, I always have trouble finding lamps, and I am such a lamp person. I love like lamp light. I feel like I hardly turn on overhead lights. Where are your favorite places to buy lamps? Because I feel like they can also get like really expensive.
They're so expensive. You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Home Goods. Do you have a Home Goods?
We do. It's actually really good. I thought about maybe after lunch we can swing by there.
Oh my goodness.
Because it is a really great big Home Goods. And my mom is such a Home Goods girly. And she goes like a few times a week. So
man, I need to move to Athens and start shopping with her.
You should.
Yeah, it's one of those things though, like you're not going to find a lamp every time you go. So if you are like looking for a certain space, you're just going to have to keep your eye out or you're going to have to splurge because the good ones are just really expensive. But I have this one I got recently and it has like made my laundry room. I didn't buy it for that purpose. It ended up just like going with the design, but it is huge and it was like $90. I think it probably would be like $250 if I found it from the original designer. So
yeah, I think you can always get good pairs at Home Goods, because sometimes if you need, they still have like really big options, but if you need a pair, I've always had luck there.
Yeah.
But it's all just, I don't know. They're all really pretty. And I feel like Home Goods just has everything. Like
I know. They really do.
Home Goods, are you listening?
I know. I love it so much. I'm like, when will I work with Home Goods?
Seriously.
They don't need to pay me though. Like I already
You're
do
like,
it.
That's true. So
I always think that. I'm like, why would they pay me? I go to Home Goods weekly. I do their advertisement for free. And I know that people are going because I'm sharing the cute things. Like I go as soon as I see people share. I'm like, I got to go. I haven't been for 3 days.
I mean, that sounds like a great pitch email that you should send and just tell them your value. Tell
Yeah.
them that. And you never know. I mean, they in the least might be like, yeah, like we'll send you some gift cards. And then like they'll keep an eye on you.
It probably is so different. Like, I know both of us have been doing this for a long time, but like I said, like home is so behind. Like
Yeah.
these fashion companies have been working with influencers now for a long time. I feel like home, they're still like figuring it out. Like they're literally behind in like knowing how to work with people and like how they want to do that. And so it's very interesting.
And I think with like home goods, you know, some of the stuff that's in the store isn't the same in every store.
Yeah.
Or it's not the same as like what's online. So then it's like, it's kind of hard. Like, I wonder if like inventory is an issue.
I think it's also hard for them to track it. Like, I know that when I share my like shop with me's, my girls are going to Home Goods.
Right.
Like, they are making purchases, but Home Goods doesn't know what.
They're like, who's the blooming nest? Like, what?
They don't
Who
know.
told
And
you
they don't.
that? Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, other people's purchases from that are not easily, like, they're not tracked at all.
I know.
So, it's like.
And they like up until recently, I feel like they haven't even really had an online presence where you can like buy.
Yeah. So Home Goods was online for like a year and now they're gone again. I'm like,
oh, really?
TJ Maxx and Marshalls are still there. So you can find some of the
like
same
similar
things.
brands.
But they didn't even make it online. I don't know if it's too hard to ship their items or.
I think the thrill of the chase in store is what people are like really going after. You know, they're getting that dopamine hit from
and you
like
buy it because you know it won't
hunt.
Be there.
Right.
I mean, I do it.
I've literally sent Kat on like a journey to get this console that we have in our office. And I was like, Kat, I put it on hold. Like, you gotta go
let you
get
put it on hold?
Yeah. Our Home Goods does let you put stuff on hold for like the day, like a certain time frame.
If you just call?
No,
you bought
was
it.
there.
Okay.
And I was like,
what?
Yes.
They don't. Yeah.
No.
If you're in store, you can buy it and put it on.
Yeah.
I thought you called and was like, there's this console I need.
No. I saw it and I was like, I don't know how we're going to get it, but Kat, can you help me? And she did.
She saved the day.
She got it. And now we have it over there and love it. And I keep thinking like, should I take this to our house? But I'm not going to yet.
Like,
I don't think she's going to let it go.
She worked too hard to get that.
Okay, tell us about elevating your dining room with fabric and like some of the dining chairs and just kind of how you've elevated your dining room overall. Because I also feel like you did your last dining room like really elevated, if I remember correctly.
So I recently, we had these dining chairs and Brett never liked them. He doesn't normally have an opinion on things, but like when they're not functional, he'll have an opinion.
Yeah.
And they looked nice, but you kind of sat back in them and like weren't up at the table. So anyway, that kind of like sparked me like searching for dining chairs because, you know, I just love to like search for the decor and furniture. So anyway, I decided to start by adding like 2 upholstered chairs on the ends, and finding that affordably is really hard. But I found some at Target that look very designer. There's Studio McGee, which she does a really good job at like making affordable things look designer. And so yeah, that's kind of where I've started. And I do love how that's elevated the space, but I'm still on the hunt for chairs to go with them.
Yeah.
And I can't find it in my price range.
No.
Like I can find chairs I love, but they're going to be like $900 each. I'm like, no. I'm not doing that.
I have also had good luck with dining chairs at TJ Maxx.
Getting enough of them?
Like the most I think I've gotten before is 6 of the same.
I need to look.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's hard to find.
Yeah, but when 6. You find it, you grab them.
That's like a early morning. As soon as they open, like, you know, the truck is there the night before.
Yes.
Type of find.
It's so fun. I'm so glad you can relate to that feeling.
My mom is like, okay, so there's a delivery Tuesday mornings and Thursday evenings. So like Tuesday and Friday are the best times to go. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. For me, it's Tuesday mornings because it's like they have to restock from the weekend.
Yes.
And then it's like, you got to be there. It is the only store that when I drive up, there's a line out the door every time.
Because like, everybody knows like the secret.
Know. But luckily, like I feel like everyone's kind of looking for different things. So you can still find what you want.
Have you ever had like a time in a TJ Maxx where you saw an item, you were like, no. And then you like went back to get it and somebody else had it?
Yes. Multiple times.
Are you just like,
LOL?
Yeah,
or like you're both kind of looking at it at the same time and it's like, you don't want to grab it.
Yeah,
you don't want to be like rude, but you're like, I really want that. Yeah, it happens all the time.
I feel like it, and then you want it more because you can't have it.
Yes, and when someone's pushing it around in their cart.
And you're like, are you even going to buy it? Maybe you are going to give it back to them.
It's so
up at
stressful.
The front.
You know you'll never see it again. And
But
if you
then
go
you
find
need
it
it.
online, it will be triple the amount.
That's very true. Have you ever like gone to a Home Goods, this situation happens, and then you like immediately drive to another Home Goods and start looking for that one again?
Yes.
Is that
like
do
weekly.
you successfully find them again?
Yes.
Okay.
It is. It's
like it's possible.
It's so fun. It's a treasure hunt. Like me and my mom and my aunt and my sister will like text in the group when we have something we're looking for because we all live in different cities, and it's like,
Who's gonna find it?
It's fun.
You like even make like a game out of this.
It really is a game, but it's so fun looking.
It's
for
really
that.
making me want to go to Home Goods right now.
I know. I can go every day. I'm good.
Okay, so one question that we got was, how can we make our house look cohesive throughout the rooms? You know, it's so easy to like decorate one room and then it be like, okay, that's like your nice room, and then nothing else in other rooms really makes sense. But what would be like some suggestions that you have?
So my favorite thing to do is to repeat paint colors. So like my island's pigeon. I mean, I love pigeon, but it wouldn't have to be pigeon for you. I have like an armoire in my mudroom that's pigeon, and my shutters are pigeon. Like it just carries that throughout the house. So whenever I am going to start a new room, like say it's the kids' bathroom, I'm not just going to like go to Sherwin-Williams and look at all the paint colors.
Right.
I'm going to think of all the colors that I've already used. It's usually like 3 to 4 besides my like wall and trim color. And I'm going to pull one of those because it's going to look different in that room and you can introduce new colors with it. But that's where I'm going to start because then it just feels like your whole house goes together.
Yeah.
Even though you can have different feels, different wallpapers. That's my favorite way to like make sure that it doesn't feel like your house is like a rainbow or just like you have different styles going on. So.
Yeah. How much wallpaper is too much wallpaper?
I love it in every room. Like
the answer does not exist.
I know. Like
wallpaper, everything.
It's just so fun.
I know.
Is it going to go out again?
You tell me.
I mean,
I hope not because we just did a lot of wallpaper.
I just literally finished my laundry room.
I think if anything, it's like back.
No,
again,
it's definitely back.
Know?
I know people that are watching us put it in our homes. They're like, they're going to hate that. But I don't care. Like, I don't decorate my house for like if we're going to sell it in 10 years or whatever. I just want to love it.
Right.
And you can remove it if you want to.
Totally.
Like, it's not a big deal.
And you can change it.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I put wallpaper in my half bath. Like it was one of our first projects in this house. And I talked to my wallpaper girl and I'm like, how easily does that? Like, I think I'm going to replace it already, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not the same as it used to be. Like apparently you just spray it with water and it just
like folds off.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it comes down that easily, but it's not like all the trauma stories that people have of like picking off each little piece.
Right.
So it's not permanent. Like just like paint, you can paint something again. Like just make it what you love.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that you can bring so much personality to a room with wallpaper. We actually just wallpapered the ceiling in one of our rooms. Like I did paint on the walls and wallpaper on the ceilings, and it's one of my favorite rooms.
I love that so much.
One of my girlfriends who like loves home interior stuff, she actually gave me the idea when she was walking her house because it's got a lot of trim work on that, which I don't typically love, but for whatever reason, I like left it all in this kind of like more parlor-esque room. And so when she said that, and we painted the walls iron ore, so it's like there's a lot of contrast in there. Which
I think this was on your stories this morning in the background. I was
it was like so opposite what I would be wearing or like doing.
Yeah.
But somehow with that like blue and white wallpaper, it just like really fits.
I love it.
But who would have thought? Like I would have never thought to wallpaper the ceiling to give it that accent.
There's so many unique places you can put it that it's just like that pop, but you can also do it really subtle. And I think when you match paint colors to the paper, it gives like a very calming effect. It's not just like there's wallpaper.
Right.
Like it feels like a unit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. What about like, do you like grass cloth or do like textures on it?
I say the more texture, the better.
Yeah.
So do y'all have textured walls here? Do y'all have smooth walls?
Mostly all smooth.
That's so nice.
I
We
don't
have
know.
all texture in Texas.
Yeah, a lot is smooth. I would like our house is all smooth, but I do know
These
some
look
like
smooth.
older homes are mostly like there's a lot of historic homes around here, and a lot of those like our office house had textured walls.
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me like if they can put wallpaper on their texture, and I always have, but not peel and stick.
Yeah.
Like ever, ever, ever. I've tried it so many times. It is always a fail. It will always fall down. But regular wallpaper on textured walls, like I really like.
okay.
It kind of gives you that texture
Yeah.
if your paper doesn't already have
Come
it.
with it.
Like in our laundry room that we just did, it like gives that additional little bit of like, texture, because my wallpaper kind of looks like fabric.
Yeah.
So I really like it. Actually ends up being a bonus because everywhere else I hate the texture.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of nice to
Yeah.
have that there. Okay, let's talk about kitchen shelves. I know you have some like open shelving in your kitchen. Some of that can be really challenging to decorate because like what is functional, what is pretty, how do you mix the two? Do you have any tips for that?
I really struggled when we first had these big shelves in this current house in my kitchen because you want it to feel like kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just put like a bunch of decor up there. And our current shelves are like really big. So now that I kind of have created like this formula, I will just change out little pieces here and
Yeah.
there when I want a little refresh. But some of the things that help me is layering big things in the back always help. So like
Mhm.
whether that's framed art or like a tray or a basket, that's where I start because then you can easily like put dishes in the front or like, I don't know, it just grounds it.
Yeah.
I love mixing old items. Like I mentioned, I have this new little vintage coffee pot that I got and it's on my shelf. It's so cute. And then in my kitchen, I do put some functional things on the lower shelf, like some of the cookbooks that I use, even like one of my grandma's. It's not that cute, but it's there and it makes me
Yeah.
smile. And dishes and cups
Yeah.
can look really cute styled, but if they're like accessible to you, like
Totally.
I say store them there.
And things that like tell a story.
Mhm.
You know, if somebody's over and they're like, "Oh, what is this book?" You can be like, "That's my
Yeah.
grandma's cooking your cookbook, and this is whatever."
Right. Exactly. Like in that exact book, there's like burners like
Yeah,
through
marks.
the page because she
Right.
like burnt through her book and it's like
Set
special
her
to me.
pot on there.
Yeah,
And,
it's like so there are stories like I like to put the special things out too. And it's
Mhm.
not like hideous, but it has the little spiral down the back.
Oh,
It's not like the
right? The classic
Yeah.
like spiral bound. I remember those. What about, do you find yourself like styling in 3s or 5s, or like any suggestion there for people to kind of know like what groupings to go with?
Yeah. Ever since I started sharing on Instagram, people want help styling shelves. And
No.
I'm such a person that just like needs to move things around
Yeah.
and like step
I
back
need to
and
like
move things
yeah.
around some more. So like I'm so hands-on. I mean, yeah, everyone says do in 3s. I think on a kitchen shelf, like sometimes there's going to be more. There's
Yeah.
going to be stacks of plates, but
Or maybe like there's going to be 3 in this corner and then like something in the middle and 3
Right.
more. Like it doesn't have to just be like only
it's
3.
yeah, it's
know,
like
it needs to be
something that's
functional.
hard for me to teach
Mhm.
because I can just go off of like what I see.
Right.
Like I just need to see it. Like if I
Totally.
go to someone's house, like I'm going to play around with your stuff. I can make it look good, but to tell you to just like put this in 3 and this in 3, like
Well, I think that's like the beauty of your account though. And for other people who are like, okay, I want it to look like that. Great. Well, that's your inspiration. Go find
Right.
items in similar height and similar color if you're going for the same palette. Similar, like, oh, you layered your books
Right.
horizontally instead of vertically, and you
Right.
put something on the top of that. Like, use that image and recreate it for yourself if you like the way that flow looks.
Exactly. I'd rather just like show you
Yeah.
than try and like tell you, because if you go follow a formula, it might not
is-
look good. Like
Right.
maybe you followed the exact rules that I gave you, but
Right.
you're going to have to play with
items.
it. But I do think if you start by like layering those big textured pieces, like you're going to have, it's going to be easy because
Yeah.
then you just put some stuff in front and it looks fine.
Okay, I am dying for those scalloped baskets from Target.
Aren't they? I think they already sold out.
Yeah, they did. I
'Cause they,
literally saw them on your page. Went to Target,
Yeah.
Large was gone.
I mean, I'm not surprised. It's like
they're so good though.
they are, and they're huge, and they're just wasted up in my pantry. Like they look pretty, but
They
I'm
do.
like, I need some of those in Squish's room.
I
or
know.
like storage and.
Well, you could repurpose those. Take those down for her. Go to your closet. Find something else.
I need the scallops in there.
No, I was really sad that wasn't. We couldn't find.
Maybe
them.
they'll come back. Surely.
I like was at the beach when I saw it, and I was like, I'm going to this Target. Maybe they have
They
them
were
here.
gone.
They weren't. They
I must have found them like right when they.
I think you did.
Because I knew they would go fast.
Well, that was a good find. Do you have any design pet peeves that we should try to avoid in our homes?
I do have one. It's kind of weird. I don't hear people talk about it. But when like this happens in almost everyone's home, there's like a fake drawer under your sink or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that happens often. And people put hardware on everything except for that fake drawer. I hope this isn't at your house because I'm going to offend you.
We have hardware on those fake drawers because
so I'm like,
that makes sense.
But people don't do it. So I'm like, if they put a drawer front there, it's so that it looks like it's part of the piece. It makes sense in my head, but you would be surprised. I bet it's like 90% of people's homes, they don't put hardware on that piece. Maybe because it's not as easy to install because I don't know.
But also like you don't want to call it out that like that's a fake drawer.
That is my point.
Like
the whole point of them putting that there was so it didn't look fake. But when you don't add the hardware to it, now it looks like, I don't know. So we have fake drawers under our washer and dryer.
Yeah.
We just finished that. And the carpenters that built the cabinets, he installed our hardware. And I was like, I want hardware on that. He's like, no, that's not possible. And he just like moved on. Like,
and you're like, yes, it is.
I'm like, yeah. So, 2 days later, I'm like, Dad,
yes,
I need hardware. And so he's like drilling, like they're just like glued on the front of these boxes.
It's just wood.
I'm like, I will figure out how to put hardware on there because what was the point of putting the drawer fronts? Like,
it doesn't make sense.
See, I get all worked up. So it obviously is a pet peeve. But people, like, if they moved in and I hadn't have put hardware there, they just would be like.
But I think it elevates your space. It makes it complete. Together. Agree. Okay.
But even,
go check your hardware,
not to
ladies.
call them out, but even my parents, there's a drawer in their bath. They just renovated their entire house. There's a drawer in their bathroom.
Are you not like Mom?
No, I told my dad, I'm like, that needs hardware. I'm going to make him do it. I can't handle it.
Please put this on Instagram.
Like it's this beautiful custom, like white oak vanity. I'm like, come on.
You're like, I see you, Dad. Come on.
It's like, just, you need that finishing
I know.
touch.
I agree. Okay. I don't know what I was expecting, but that wasn't it. But I
sorry
also
to get worked up about it. Now you're going to notice.
That.
You're going to be in people's homes.
Now I also want to go back to make sure this isn't happening at my
Your
house.
people wouldn't have let you not have hardware on it. They're too talented.
Okay. What are 5 must-have things for your home?
So I love bringing in old items, and that's something like it's the more old items I've been bringing in, the more I'm loving my home because it's just feeling more collected and less like store-bought.
Yes.
I have plants in every room, and I'm not a plant person. Like I'm not really good at it, but they do okay. Like I would say try it. My best friend Ashley's really good at plants, so I do ask her sometimes. But she told me to try pothos. I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't.
But they grow really long.
Okay.
I have no issues with those. Like they get a little droopy. I can tell they need water. And then I give them water and they're happy as can be. Okay. And a little hack that my mom does, she's not a plant lady either, but I gave her a fiddle leaf fig one time. And you know how there's always like half drink water bottles around your house? Like we always have that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know whose that is. I'm not drinking it. Like,
guess what? You're filling up the water.
Yeah.
That's
so
smart.
without thinking about it, like having to set aside time to go water your plants, I just like, if there's a cup of water or the kids' cup of water, I'll just water some of them. What else do I like in my house? I think art in every room, Etsy prints. Me personally, pigeon and scallops are like everywhere.
Yeah.
But they're kind of trending right now.
I know.
It's making me nervous because it's like something I've loved for a long time. And now I'm like, it's going to be overdone. They're going to be everywhere. And then
I know.
But that's okay. I'll enjoy it while I can because I'm seeing a lot of stuff at Home Goods that's like scalloped and I'm buying it all up.
Right. Well, and if you have loved it for so long, it's going to be something you're going to continue to love, so you're able to really stock up on the things. And then when it can't be found anymore, you're going to have all those pieces.
Yep. But I do have like a touch of scallops in every room.
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm finding more. So it's like
easier to style with.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know how many things that was.
Did you give your kids any, like, let them help you design any of their rooms? Or are you just like, we're going to commit to this?
I think I let them pick their wall color. Not actually the color, but like generally.
Here,
yeah.
Between this and this.
Like, do you want pink or... No, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't think they really got a say.
Never mind. I know. I didn't really give Hazel and Collins a say because they're at the time when we were doing this, they were 3 and 2. Like they don't know.
One day they'll care.
Love it. Right.
And so that day when that comes, we'll be there. But while they're little, like, no.
Yeah.
But Lawson like doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
Like I could do whatever. He's just
and
a boy.
Like,
he's
cool,
like,
thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So for a while we had like some planets hanging from his ceiling because that's something. Well, actually we made them just for fun. And I was like, these actually look really cool. So we hung them in there, but they're gone now. So I really haven't done their rooms yet.
Yeah.
So everything's just slow.
Yeah.
They have painted walls and that's about it.
Just coming together, building a home and getting it all to like come together with your personal touch is just kind of like part of it.
Yeah. And people will say like, well, when you finish, you won't have anything to do. Like, I'm like,
there's
I will
always
like, if only they saw in my brain.
I know.
Like the amount of things I could do in each room. So people right now will walk in my home and think like it's finished. I'm like, goodness, I haven't even touched the living room. And that's like what you see when you walk in.
Yeah.
So it like kills me because I know like what I want it to be.
Right.
But I have to just let that go. Like, doing a little bit at a time. It's okay.
You'll get there.
I'll get there.
Okay. Well, wrapping up, I have a question that I ask everybody at the end of the podcast. What was the most meaningful act of kindness someone has extended to you that has had a lasting impact on your life?
I think that's a sweet question to ask everyone. So I have one from my mom and my dad.
Okay.
So I had to move around. When I turned 8, we started moving like every 2 years. My dad worked for a big oil and gas company. And so that was like something that shaped me on its own, like just moving around as a kid. But our last move was to Canada and that was fine. Like we had some memories there and experiences, but we didn't have a great church and it was just different. Like it's just very different living in the North in a different country. Mm-hmm. And so when it was time to move again, my dad was offered like a really great job, like something that he had worked for years in the company. And he turned it down and told them like, no, I have to get my girls back to Texas. Like my sister was starting high school. And so he like took a different job. It was still at the same company, but it was not like what he had worked for. Yeah. He never complained. Like he did that just for us. And so me and my sister got to finish out high school in what felt like home around family. We had a great church. I had like so many church friends that I feel like helped me, like high school's hard. And I always had the church friends to run to like keep me where I wanted to be. So I feel like that really helped my life. And then something that I think about constantly, my mom, this is something that I need to remind myself to do, but she, my whole life, prayed for me and my sister to find like godly spouses. And I still I've known Brett most of my life and I never would have imagined marrying him, like ever. Yeah. And so I still think daily, I'm like, how am I with Brett? How is this what happened? And I truly, when I think about how thankful I am for him, I know that it's because Mom was always praying for that. And like, I need to be doing better. Like I need to pray for that for my kids too, because that is huge. Yeah. So those are two things that I feel like I wouldn't be where I am without those decisions. And I'm thankful for them for that.
That's so special. I love that. Okay. Well, Regan, where can our listeners find you? Tell us on Instagram, on your website, where do you want them to come looking?
So I'm the Blooming Nest on Instagram, and I also have a website. I don't blog very much. Like I used to say I was a blogger,
I
but
know.
I really don't like to do it. But
Yep.
on my website, I do have a club. It's called Club Bloom, and it's free, and people can ask their design questions there. It's
Cool.
like a community where other blooming nesters will share what they would do in the space, and I like grab questions from there and share them on my stories and tell you what I would do in my space, in your space. So that's a
Yeah.
great place to be. Also, I have a Facebook group where people do the same thing. So if you need help with your
Yeah.
house, even if it's not me answering, like I have a big community that loves this and like they want
Love it.
to help everyone love their home.
That's
So
so great. Well, we'll leave all the links to those places in the show notes so you guys can pop over and give Regan a follow. This has been such a fun episode. It's
so
been
fun.
really cool to kind of, as I follow along with her and see what she's doing, kind of know some of the like why and what's happening, behind the scenes. So I really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for having me.